So happy to be here on this lovely Friday, everybody. My name is Heather Hyman with Sweet Tea Social Marketing. I'm located in South Carolina, just on the outskirts of Columbia, the capital city, in a small town called Blythewood. So we are very excited to bring to you a super great interview, and we are going to be telling you all about business models. But before we dive into any of that, just a few quick things to let you know. Our featured guest speaker today is none other than Phyllis Kerr. Phyllis, want to say hi?
Hey everybody, I hope you can hear everything. We're attempting this double Periscope G+ Hangout thing. We're going to rock the technology today. It should be fun.
Very cool. I'm moving my screens around so the people on Periscope can see you a little bit better. Okay, hey there, awesome. So yes, we're doing this live on Periscope on both ends. So what that means is as you're watching this now, whether live or later on YouTube, there are actually people live also watching this on Periscope. And so we want to make sure that nobody feels like the redheaded stepchild of this Hangout. Your questions are important to us. We really do want you to interact and engage with us. So if you're watching on Periscope, we want to see the flutter of hearts. If you are with us live on Google+, we are very excited that you're here and being a part of this Hangout. It's going to be fantastic. So hopefully everyone can hear us well. We've got lots of people following us on Periscope, and we are going to dive right in. So let's go on, and I'll tell you guys, I already mentioned my name is Heather Hyman with Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and I ultimately am a coach, a blogger, a speaker, all on social media and trying to help small businesses. That's what I do. And just while I'm out there, always learning about the latest trends in social media, what I have learned is that this is a process where we are all always learning. Even the people that we look up to that are our experts, they too are on this journey, because we all know that social media is not going anywhere and social media is always changing. Two things that we can always count on. Is that right, Phyllis?
That's so true. Oh my gosh. And if you aren't adaptable and flexible, you might as well go someplace else, because this field will challenge you in that field.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell some of you who may not already know about Phyllis Kerr. When I first found her online, I hadn't really heard her name audibly, so I was like, is it Kerr? Is it Carr? How do you say her last name? But if you just think Phyllis cares, she cares about people, she cares about social media, you will always say her name correctly, and you will not embarrass yourself when you see her at the next social media event or wherever you may see her. So let me tell you guys just a little bit about Phyllis. She is an author of Social Media Marketing E-Learning Kit for Dummies, and she's the co-author of Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies. She brings her energy and her enthusiasm and her inspirational skills and just her life experience both to her books and to her presentations and to you today on Periscope and on this Google Hangout. Phyllis works with clients internationally. She works with businesses to ultimately help them rock their social media presence. She uses Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Periscope, all of these platforms to help these A-list clients really not just be on social media, but to do social media smart, with a strategy and with a plan. So I'm just really excited that you're here, Phyllis. I won't say that I've been stalking you, but I will say that like on my top 10 list, and what I have learned from Kim Garst is to have a goal and to have objectives on the people that you want to meet and you want to make connections with, and just be intentional about it. So it's completely my honor to have this chance to just talk with you and dive into this conversation all about business models.
Well, I am so happy to be here. I love the G+ interview. I love the environment of G+. I love video, and I am starting to love Periscope. And I have to say, I haven't tried out Meerkat yet, but there's some really good things on that side too. So, but I love the technology, and I just noticed that my Periscope has frozen. So they will just have to enjoy yours for a little bit.
Okay, guys. So make sure if you're not already checking us out, we are so excited that you're here. And we want to make sure that everybody knows that we consider this to be a conversation. We are going to be talking. Hopefully, you're going to get great information out of this. But I am going to be following on Twitter. So here's the hashtag. Are you ready for this? I want you to use the hashtag Phyllis. Phyllis has 2 L's. So you're going to use hashtag Ask Phyllis, and I'm going to be checking that on Twitter throughout this entire conversation. So that is the best way for you to get noticed and for us to do a shout out for you. And we would love for you, if you get any wisdom or insight on this about business models, use that hashtag and we will follow up with you and make sure that we are able to recognize you. That's one cool thing about being live on actual Google Hangouts and interviews. So, Phyllis, are you ready? Do you mind if I just kind of put you in the hot seat? And just
No,
ask
let's do it. Let's do it. It sounds like fun.
Okay. So tell me just a little bit, give a brief, 1-2 minute recap. What have you been up to regarding maybe your personal goals for the last 3 months?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, twice a year, Andrea Vall and I launch Social Media Manager School. And we did that back in April, and by the end of May, we had finished all our required premium webinars and all of that. And so I decided to take a vacation, which I have not done ever, really. I don't know how to vacation. It's a skill I don't have. So I ended up going to Ecuador, of all places, and I found that in Ecuador I just wanted to be online all the time. It was like the weirdest thing. So I lasted a couple of weeks in Ecuador, and then I just couldn't handle vacation mode anymore, and so I went to Florida and hung with family for a while, and then I went to Barbados, which was awesome. And I was a workcation. I definitely did some vacationing and some work there, and Andrea and I both did presentations at a social media seminar there with local businesses in Barbados, and that was so much fun, and I got to work out on the balcony of the Radisson and watch the sailboats and the little birds and the beautiful aqua water, and it's, work from anywhere life, which I really and truly, this is one of the motivating factors of why I do what I do, is so that I can work from anywhere.
Awesome. Well, that kind of goes into what I was going to say. You've obviously been doing all this kind of mixing in the work with the vacation. So how does that ultimately work for you in just this career that you've kind of established for yourself, the traveling and the going and Wi-Fi? Does the connection work? Does it not work?
Oh, I have to tell you, my whole world rolls around the internet connection. And if it's a bad internet connection, I am just not a happy camper. I really need to have that internet connection. Here in my office in Iowa, we have fiber wired. So I'm like 100 up, 100 down, for those of you who understand those numbers. And I was recently in California on a Wi-Fi, and it was like 1 up and 1 down, and it was so frustrating. So I do know that for me to be happy in my work from anywhere experience, I do have to have that really strong internet connection. I tried to Periscope from the Radisson in Barbados, and it didn't work. But when I Periscoped from the Hilton down the street, it did work. So you really have to understand your tech and make sure that you can do what you want to do.
Right. Very cool. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be diving into business models. When you and I were talking and we were like, let's get together, let's talk, social media, tell me why you wanted to talk about business models.
Well, I think a lot of people think that they're stuck in doing things a certain way, and I really want people to kind of break that open a little bit and start thinking in a wider stance. There are only really about 5 different types of models. You're either a retail store and people have to physically walk into your store to buy something for you to make money, or you're a service provider in a retail, space. Offline. These are your 2 offline types of business models. But then you have the online digital product that does not require any shipping or physicality of any kind. You have the digital physical product, which, like Etsy artists and people who create things. And then you also have this digital service, which are your consultants and services like that. But then you can have combinations of all of that. And a lot of people they don't realize they can do both. They can have a retail store plus an online physical. They can have an offline store plus a service that's digital. And so I want people to think about their business model in that funnel of how they make money, and if there's a way that they can expand their business model so that their funnel is bigger. And I think that's kind of like the thing in the nutshell of what I'm really focused on right now is that funnel and how you can break open your business model to make it bigger.
Okay, now I'm going to break this down real quick because, for those people who are watching, and both yourself and myself, real life application, like how does this affect that business owner? And sometimes we can think that this is like just for maybe the mom and pop business, and they don't know what Twitter even is, much less do they have an account. Right. But I want to go the opposite extreme first and say, look, I'm meeting business owners that, let's say they have a service, totally all immersed in this whole computer technology of they build websites. But I see their marketing strategy. They are awesome. They know WordPress in and out. They know SEO upside down. And then when I ask them about their social media presence or just their marketing in general, they typically, and just these are just some recent real conversations with business owners, some of their real number one strategies are, say, I want to print out 900 postcards. I want to mail that postcard to the business. Then the next week I'm going to call to follow up. And I'm not to say that there isn't, legitimate opportunities there. But it seems almost that even if you've got a business that they are online and they have their service, they're not really seeing social media as really being a tool to leverage that. So what are your thoughts on that regarding the various business models and just how a business, let's talk about that. Let's say the web designer, how could they try to leverage their business model to really maximize that for growth?
Right. Well, it turns out it's all about reaching your customer. And if I could just say reach, every time you hear that word, just think of it in all caps. It's all about reach, right? And there's only 4 ways to expand reach online. There's only 4 ways. And everything everybody tells you to do for marketing online falls into one of these 4 buckets. And the first one is where most people concentrate, and that's that magnetized, shareable content. The stuff that's really magnetized for your target audience, that's really easy to share, and it's content. And that's where most social media marketing right now is, but that's only one of the 4 ways to expand reach online. The other way is the hashtag and the SEO component of this. You can double your reach in Twitter by using a hashtag. If you use the sweet spot on Instagram of 11 hashtags, you have more of a chance of getting your reach expanded. So that SEO hashtag aspect is something that a lot of people just put as a secondary concern, but it's a big deal. The third way is your people power. These are your strategic partners, your affiliates, your super fans, your cheerleaders. Those are the people who will take your natural reach and really make it big. But a lot of people, just they're solo entrepreneurs, they don't think about how they can work with other people or partners or affiliates. But that is the third bucket for expanding reach online. And then the fourth way is advertising. And, there's a lot of emphasis on advertising, social media advertising, and I'm sorry to say that it really is a vital component in a lot of businesses to be able to reach who you need to reach. But those 4 things, the magnetized, shareable content, the hashtags, people, and advertising. Those are the 4 ways. And by the way, that's the nutshell of my new book. I have a book coming out. I haven't written a book in 3 years, so I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome. So, and this may be in your book that you're going to be writing, but of those business models that you just discussed, and then that one opportunity of you just talking about advertising, kind of break that down for me, whether you think that different business models need to advertise or more beneficial from a social media perspective, or do they just need to go about it differently? Or do you feel that every single one of those business models can have great success, advertising? And when you say advertising, I want to clarify, are we talking advertising the gamut of everything radio, TV, or are we talking social media primarily?
Well, this particular thing is about social media reach, social online reach. But in terms of social media advertising, it's really important to test. And some markets are going to be smaller than others depending on the business, but there's always somebody's target market, I believe, is online somewhere. So if they're not on Facebook, then they're on LinkedIn. If they're not on LinkedIn, then they're on Pinterest. If they're not on Pinterest, they're on Twitter. So the most important thing is to figure out where your market is, where they hang out, and this is, just basic 101 social media advertising information, and that is you need to know where they are, when they're on there, what they want to see, what they're attracted to, and then create the content that's attractive to them that brings them into your funnel. And then once you bring them into your funnel, then you have to know how to do your email marketing and things like that. But in terms of like this web developer, it's really important for him or her to figure out, again, their target market. Do they love working with authors? Do they love working with retail stores? Do they love working with photographers? Do they have a niche that they can specialize in? Because I think sometimes advertising is a lot easier if you have a niche that you can focus in on.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes for a business that is trying to have the global audience of saying, my services are digital, so I've got clients that I can service in the entire country or in the entire world. So I'm going to focus specifically and say I do websites for authors or for musicians. My personal experience sometimes is that on the local level, and I know you have a lot of local clients too, and I'd like your insight on this. Sometimes I feel that local business owners sometimes have a harder time maybe specializing their niche because maybe they feel, here I am in a town of 150,000 people. I'm trying to do this particular business, but I want to have it be monetizing enough to where it's profitable for my brand. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it goes back to those 5 different types of business models. So they have people who are physically going to find them in a local community. They're going to know them. They're going to hear about them. So that door is wide. That door is wide open to anyone who comes through it. But when they're going to do online service products, then they can focus on a niche or several niches. So the whole point is that if you have a combination business model of a brick and mortar store and an online service, then that brick and mortar store is really, it's open to everyone and anyone. But when they do their local marketing, they're going to attract anyone, and that's cool. But when they go online, they might want to think about focusing in on a niche.
On their target, even who they love working with. We all know that we have clients we love, and we have other clients that not that we don't love, but and sometimes people feel like they need to master that before they can move forward. But I'm sure maybe in your experience when you first started, you maybe you did know I want to work with this particular type of industry and you knew it. But I've also learned from a lot of people that they slowly develop a love for a particular field or industry, or start getting client after client in a particular field, and then they say, I love this, I'm going to go into the medical industry, or I'm going to go over here and think of engineering or small business bakeries, whatever.
Right. So you might already have a passion, and if you already have a passion in life, you know the vocabulary, you know the language. So
Right.
A lot of times it's easier to work in that field because you don't have any learning curves to get through to be able to promote these businesses effectively. But then sometimes you go into that and then you realize that you love this area, you love this industry, but the people in the industry, the personalities are not necessarily the kind that you want to work with, and and through time you kind of sort that all out and you find the people that you want to work with, and it's a learning thing, especially if you're just starting out.
Right. So on the business models, do you feel that one particular platform more than another has it easier or more difficult from a social media perspective and trying to use those opportunities to help grow?
No, I think they all have equal opportunity. A local store can use Facebook offers. They can use all sorts of promotions, especially through Periscope and Meerkat for live flash sales come now kind of thing. You can use Pinterest for those long evergreen things that happen in your local store. I mean, there's a lot to it. So, you know, sometimes people think that online social media marketing is best for online digital products and things like that. And it's
Right.
great for that. But it can also be extremely beneficial to a local community and a local store. So, yeah, I think it's all equal that way.
Okay, okay. So like now I've heard that you say that you are like a good research librarian. Can you tell me what on earth that means?
When I first got into this industry, it was like a fish to water. I just really loved every part of it. And somebody would mention something, and I would just take off and research it and find it and test it and make sure it all worked, and then I would present it to the people who were starting to follow me. So I like that, going out, testing, figuring it out, seeing how it would work, seeing if there are other competitors. It's sort of that research phase I like a lot. And so that's why I say I'm like a research librarian. If somebody gives me a question I don't know the answer to, it's like a challenge. It's like, ding, and I just go until I figure it out or find the answer to it. So that's why I say that.
Very cool. Now, do you think that most people out there, you know, dependent upon their business model, do you feel that they really are, like, do you feel a lot of businesses, whether it be the people that you work with or just the conversations you have with people online, do you think a lot of people have an actual strategy, or do you feel that they are just like flying by the seats of their pants?
I think that most businesses started with a strategy, and it was probably a very simple strategy, a very simple funnel. And if they're still in business, that funnel works, that strategy works. And sometimes business owners are so busy in that particular funnel that they've developed that they don't have time to think about other ways to expand their funnel. And that's when sometimes you say, oh, I need social media marketing. But they don't realize that they still need to create that funnel. They need to create that strategy to bring people into the business. So I think that, you know, to answer the question a little bit, is that most businesses have a funnel, but it's usually very simple. And I'm saying that you can expand it and make it bigger and bring in more people.
Now, do you mind breaking this down for anyone who possibly could be watching and they're like, what are they talking? Are they cooking? What a funnel? What funnel are they talking about? Just break that down for me. What do you mean? Obviously, the funnel is going to look different based on the business model, based on the type, but just kind of give us in your words, like, what are you talking about when you say, here's your funnel, and how is it's going to ultimately put money in your drawer, in your cash register, and on your bottom line?
Right, because that's what businesses are mostly interested in. I have to say, after all these years of doing this work, of course, they're interested in building a community, and yes, they're interested in branding, and yes, they're interested in expanding their reach, but they want to make more money. They want to be able to expand their business and hire more employees and have an impact in the world. That's their bottom line. That's it. So the thing about a funnel is, you can think about it this way. You can think about it like a cooking funnel. You know, there's a big top, and then there's a little bottom, and at the bottom is where the people actually purchase. Hey, Periscopers! So the nice thing about that is you have to think about how your target customer finds you. Do they just find you from your content, and then they join your email list, and then they buy a little thing from you, and then they buy a big thing from you? That's a funnel, okay? Does your customer look at the newspaper and scan the sales and come by your store and maybe check things out, and then you get them on your email list, and then you offer them a coupon, and then they buy? You know, that's a funnel. How they find you and how they end up being your customer. Now, that funnel is really going to be different for every business, but it's basically the same thing. It's wide at the top. You get a lot of people. You bring them in closer, and you build trust with them, that they know what they like, and then all along the way, people will drop out of this funnel, and then you have your customers. Now the cool thing is right now when you go online, when you go on any social site, you are inside somebody's funnel. If you're reading somebody's blog post, you're in their funnel. If you are looking at their images and going, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful, I want to go there, you're inside their funnel. When you click a link to get a free download for a guide of how to use Pinterest, you're in their funnel. So everywhere you are online, you're inside somebody's funnel right now, which is a very weird thing to think about, actually.
Hey, well, it's like I said, like I find a lot of businesses, they see the validity of social media and they want to be there, but they just don't necessarily grasp the funnel. Like there's definitely credibility to brand awareness, but at the end of the day, 100 more people knowing that you are an interior designer, or knowing that you're a moving company, or knowing that you are there, does not necessarily increase more leads or emails in your inbox. And so, like, do you have any wisdom of all your years of experience for that business owner that they believe in social media as a means to grow their brand, they want to have the money in the bank, but I think some people just don't get the funnel. They don't really see how social media plays into that. And so when you mention blog, they're just like, no. You mention website, they're like, no. You mention email list, they're like, no. But they're like, well, social media is amazing. There's billions of people out there, and I want to be there too. And they're even willing to pay, someone like yourself or me, or someone who will come in and say, we can make you look great. We can have strategy. We can implement this whole 85-15% rule of, we're going to be talking about your services, but we're also going to be giving value and putting humor out there and inspiration and all these other aspects. But trying to get that business owner to really see that just being on social media is not enough to just generate amazingness. Like, what words of wisdom do you have?
Well, it's the same thing as in the store. You have 100 people walk in the door, but only 10 people buy something. So they have to think about their store as being like the social media environment. People come in, they look around, they browse, they see what you have, and they think, that's pretty cool, and then they walk out the door. That's just like someone on social media who comes in and sees that beautiful post or sees that blog post or whatever, and then they leave. But there are some people who get more and more interested in what you have to offer. That more and more interested in what you have to offer, you need to figure out what it is that your customer is seeing. Are they seeing the value? Are they seeing the price? Are they seeing the quality? Are they seeing the expertise in what you offer? You have to sort of reverse engineer what your final customer was feeling and thinking before they bought, and replicate that on social media.
Okay.
So that's kind of a little bit academic, but the point being is that it's the same thing as people walking in the store. Why do they walk in the store? Because they walk by and they go, oh, that's charming. That I am magnetized to that. This is attractive to me. It's the same thing on social media when they see an image run through their Facebook feed. Oh, I'm attracted to that. I will stop my fast scanning and pause for a moment and read the headline and maybe click through. That clicking through is someone pausing at your window in the store and walking in the door. Okay? So it's exactly the same thing, except it's online. It's just online. That's all.
And that's really good, because like I always say that to my clients or to people that are just asking questions about social media, and I'm always saying you've got to get in the mind of the people who you're trying to talk to, not just from your perspective. But I really like how you take it a step further and you say, get in the mind of that potential person, who maybe you just experienced, who did buy. And what were their moments? What were their thoughts? What were they experiencing before they bought? And
Right.
then you as a business owner need to be out there putting in content, whether you're asking those questions that may be making them be hesitant to choosing you or calling you, and to just move that process further along in your funnel. So I like that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting too is that a lot of businesses don't necessarily take the time, some do, but some of them don't really understand what things about their business are attractive to their customers. They built the business so that it's attractive to them, right? And you know, the colors and the fonts and the items and the things that they use in the store are attractive to them, but are those same things attractive to their potential customers?
Right.
Sometimes just by changing a few things, you open that door a little wider to a wider audience. And so it's really important to know. You know, when I was in Barbados, I did this example of like the hotels. They always have these beautiful pictures of the beach and everything because that's their target market. People want that relaxing experience on the beach. But there are other businesses on the island that are like, you know, kite sailing and kayaking and all this kind of stuff. And those potential customers want more excitement, right? So you can't advertise your service with a relaxing picture on the beach. You have to have somebody's crazy selfie up in the air, you know, with their hair like blowing behind them as the picture that you're using to attract, because that's the quality, that's the feeling your potential customers want to have.
Very good.
So you have to kind of look and just make sure you're really in tune with what your customer is looking for.
Very cool. Okay, now, so Periscope folks, thank you for staying with us. We are here on Periscope. You are live, so we've got people that are here, and we don't want you feeling neglected. Do you guys feel that you've learned a little bit more about business models that is helping you in your business? If you do have some questions, this is the time. We've got another question that we're going to ask Phyllis, but I'm going to be paying attention to my screen. If you have questions, this is your opportunity to face-to-face ask Phyllis. Okay, so I'm looking, guys, so don't feel that you're being ignored. Okay, so Phyllis, tell me a little bit, like, what are your favorite ways of helping people these days?
These days, these days I'm really interested in helping the business owner, like I talked about, expand reach. What are some things that you can do to expand reach? And to really start to be, I'm a creative person by nature, so I like, whenever I get into a project, I try to expand it out and find the cool things that are new, that might be exciting, that might bring in more people. So it's consulting basically with people.
Okay, fantastic. Now, do me a favor. Do you have any one last gleaming thought of wisdom on business models that you want to just share or say before we kind of wrap this up?
Sure. If you're interested in this topic, really just kind of either follow me, get on my list, because I have this new book coming out. I have all sorts of new products that are coming out about this, really affordable things that businesses can do. Just connect with me in some way, because I got a lot of stuff happening and I just want you to be able to see it very quickly.
Awesome. Well, that sounds fantastic. So glad to have had this opportunity. I do not want to take any more time out of your day, because I know that you're getting into your recovery mode of having gotten back from Barbados and all of the really cool things that you have been able to do there. But I really appreciate everybody for being here with us live. Like I said, Phyllis, tell everybody real quick the best way to find you online.
Just Google me and to make sure you spell both my names correctly. So, so Phyllis, Phyllis, and Care, Khare. There you go, and you can find me everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything with that username.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, we are going to get this up. It'll be on YouTube probably in about 30 minutes. So we're excited. Please feel free to watch the replay. And again, if you've got questions around business models, growing your reach on social media, Phyllis Khare is definitely one that you want to make sure that you're following, and make sure that you're being ready for this new book that she's going to have. Is it a secret? Like, when's the book coming out? Like, are we talking weeks or are we talking months?
No, I think many weeks, short amount of months.
Cool. I love that. Okay. So we got just a little bit of a sneak peek, possible inside information. It's secret. Nobody knows. Just on viral on Periscope, and it's going to be
Exactly.
I won't tell anybody. Well, thank you for your time, Phyllis. I really appreciate it. And everyone who tuned in, Please feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube if you would like to stay connected. And if you want to learn more about us in general, just go to sweetteasocialmarketing.com. And that is it for today. Thank you. Y'all have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Heather. It was great.
Bye, Phyllis.
Bye-bye.